Caught up with another one of our Wissota Auto Racing and millions of other thing competitor, Dan Ebert here out of Lakeshore, Minnesota. You just walked up, you just sat down. We didn't even get to talk before we went on camera here. How's PRI so far?
Yeah, good. We came down this morning, and James and Derek, part of his monster truck team, my dad, and Mark, James's father-in-law. So we've just been. We've honestly haven't even made like a half a lap yet, so it's good timing. We're so far, I'm impressed with the amount of people. This has been way busier than I remember, even when reminds me of like when we were working Fox pre-COVID.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I haven't made it into the other building yet because we've been here, but the people roaming around here, it is busy.
It is. It's great. It's a great thing for racing. It's exciting to see. I think. Past COVID is a little bit loom and gloom, so this is awesome.
Yeah, let's hope that is the case. Long in the rearview mirror. Let's talk about your 2023 season. USMTS majority of the year, ran that whole entire tour. Obviously, your biggest win of your career. You've won a bunch of pretty cool races, but King of America was a giant one, right? You go to Humboldt and you go to March and you win that thing. And I know your racing team, you yourself, you're capable of winning those races. But to win that thing early in the year, how fun was that to kick off a season like that?
It was. We started out the year in Vado with a new car with Mullins, and we ran well. Didn't quite get one, but we were close, and then kicked off the season at Rocket Raceway down in Texas, and we were competitive, ran good, and then boom, we're in Humboldt there. And honestly, early in the week, didn't know if we had a car good enough to win, but we did hit on something a little bit there on Saturday for the big race. So obviously, that's a huge one. People race their whole life, Chris, and never win that one. So obviously, we're going to try and do it again, but still living in the moment for being King Dan for one more year anyway.
We'll talk about that, though. It was the, 12th, right? I think it was the 12th King of America. There were 10 previous winners. Like, you're right. Guys don't win that multiple times very often, and there are hundreds and hundreds of racers that are never going to win that. So to win that thing, whether you thought your car was good enough early in the weekend or not, you got it done, and it was a really good Saturday night.
Yeah, 100%. It's just so crazy with racing. Like, you can prepare and focus and test for one event and then not run well and then show up at another event and really not have your act together and win it. So I don't know. Sometimes I think we overthink it.
Talk about USMTS for a minute. You go through the whole season. You run that thing. It is a grueling grind. Their schedule just came out. It's another 50 races, and it's Texas in February to wherever, Kansas at Halloween. It's all summer long. But you go along and you run competitively. Sometimes you don't, right? You have bad days. It is what it is. But you run competitively all season. I want to talk about that 25th anniversary race, too, because I was there, and your car was good. I don't know if it was as good as you thought it was going to be at the end, but it was really good at the end, wasn't it?
100%. It's like I tell people that, don't understand it or maybe haven't been involved or race it. It's super competitive. It's the most competitive modified series racing that I've ever been a part of. And, you can have guys, Rodney or Jason or anybody that would win one night and not make the show the next. It's just, it's wild that way. So very humbling. I think I've had to learn that, you're not going to win 20 races a year. Like, those days are over. I think we won 2 USMTS races, and I think we ran 10 Wissota races and won 5. So, I mean, it was a very good year. What was your question? I forgot what
how good was that 25th anniversary race at the end of that thing?
Mason City race. So, yeah, Todd went through a ton of work to get that up. Lots of sponsors. Track was great, and 75 laps. I'd personally never run a mod race that long, so that was exciting. I kind of wish, what it reminded me of, Chris, was when we did the 60-lapper at Alex way back in the day, and I kind of miss it. I wish we could do some more of that type endurance racing because you really change your mindset. The first 30 I was riding, and it really showed. A lot of guys were riding and a lot of guys were really pushing, and it showed at the end.
For sure. Really good finish. That was a fun race. That whole weekend was fun. Obviously, giant money, and it ended up being a good race. Let's talk Wissota racing for a minute. Like you said, you didn't even run a dozen Wissota races, but in the ones you were in, you won almost all of them, and I know you only won half of them, but you were very competitive in every single one. Won 5 of them, could have probably won 7 of them, maybe 8 of them. Your Wissota program certainly benefits from the USMTS stuff. Obviously, you're learning and you're racing for a living more often than a lot of the local Friday, Saturday guys, but I guess my long question is, does coming back to Wissota slow your mind down a little bit? And I don't really mean slow the race cars down. I just mean slow your mind down a little bit because you're a little bit more comfortable at those racetracks typically that you race at?
Yes and no. That's a really good question because You would think that, you come back, do Wissota racing, go to tracks that you're accustomed to, it would be easier. But man, this Wissota competition now is so dang competitive. The cars and the drivers and the access to knowledge and information is really shown, and the local talent is freaking badass. And it shows when USMTS comes to town, or they travel down Florida to do things. They're always in the front. So like I don't like when like Wissota guys even cut themselves down, because it's like, you guys need to give yourself a lot more credit than what you think, because just because that we run USMTS doesn't put us in a league of our own. It really doesn't. You guys, and I can speak for it too. You can come into Ogilvie and win. You can come into Fergus and win, because you guys know that deal where a lot of times we come in, it's like half of us have never seen this place before.
Well, talk that through, because you're one of those guys. You, Shane, Landon, you won a USMTS race before you should have, almost in the national spotlight world's minds, right? You're one of those guys that USMTS came to Ogilvie and came to Fergus and came to some of these tracks where a local guy, quote unquote, kind of whooped them.
Yeah, 100%. If you look back at Outlaws and Lucas, it seemed like you saw that more a couple, 3 years ago. I think now maybe technology and these teams have caught it, but I feel like USMTS, Wissota, when we go into USRA land, those locals are still bad to the bone. And it's awesome because you come to these tracks and the local guys bring the crowd, and they're rooting for that. So it's great. I think, naturally, we would like to say that, yeah, one of us is going to win, but when we roll in, and it's just a different mentality. You don't look at the local talent and be like, oh, these guys are going to be a piece of cake. It's like, I'm pretty sure I've seen him before, and he wins here all the time, and then go check what? Yeah, he's on the front row of the feature, and you're chasing him.
No, for sure. A couple things I want to talk about. We're not quite done. We're not quite done. A couple things I do want to touch on. I want to talk about Masters Weekend. So Masters Weekend is a big deal at Cedar Lake. 3, 5, 10, 11,000 to win. We've added a Sunday to that. I know you've seen the schedule, and I'm assuming you're pretty excited about that Sunday night at Granite City, where your team owner owns the racetrack, etc. So Masters Weekend is always a big one. Now you get to go home, sort of, on Sunday night and run a big one at Granite too.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm really happy that James got to step up. I think it's perfect to end it right on that Masters deal. We're all there. Granite City has been awesome. If you watch some of the races, the racing has been phenomenal. They've made some big improvements there, so I think it's going to be a heck of a show.
No, I would agree. When that schedule came out, I was excited to see that for sure. Talk through me 2024. USMTS full-time again, Wissota car when you can. I assume it's relatively the same as it's been.
Yeah, pretty much the same. We just got back from Tanner's. I was there last week. We finished off a new chassis. It's getting powder coated at Woody's Manufacturing right now. Reach out to them if you need any powder coating needs. So we're going to thrash on that here. It's kind of crazy when you put the schedule out and look at it. You think you have a lot of time, but we've got a couple weeks, and then it's Christmas-ish, and then, boom, we got to leave for Vado in January, so January 4th. So the plan would be, barring we don't run into any hiccups in the assembly build process, I'll have 2 Mullins cars going to Vado. We'll do that. We'll come back. And then, what USMTS is the third weekend? February. So I'd like to go to Volusia and maybe work with Fox and do that and mingle and network there a little bit. But, yeah, then the schedule fires right up again. So that's our plan. Wissota-wise, my Wissota car has been in good shape. It's been the same car I've run for a while. I think we'll just roll with that. It's always a lot of fun. I forget what it was. I think we ran close to 70 races last year, so that's plenty. You know what I mean? That's a full schedule, but any chance we can, I love to race, particularly when there's fall specials or special races that we can.
Yeah, well, no doubt about it. And usually, the way the USMTS schedule lays out, you're around to run some of those bigger Wissota races, whether it's mid-season, whether it's in the fall or whatever. I haven't compared schedules yet, but I assume it's pretty close to the same.
Yeah, it's actually really nice that way, as far as, we race really heavy in the spring when it's not traditionally well around here, and then I think in July we're off a lot, and I think September we're off a lot, which is prime for Wissota stuff. So, and
the September schedule with USMTS, I think you're off the whole month because they moved the Jamboree now and some things. So I think you're right. I think you actually probably can run some more Wissota stuff if you want to.
I'm really looking forward to it because I think if you were to do a survey amongst all Wissota racers, like, fall's the time. Like, fall is just fun. It's just everybody's got their stuff sort of ironed out. It's when the money is. It's when we can kind of all get together and race. We're not maybe points chasing quite as much. I mean, that would be like my vision and goals, just like, and I know there's been some surveys, and that's a whole other subject, but if we could end points sooner and we could all race together at the end, I think that'd be the ultimate vision, along with if all of us chassis manufacturers, builders, sponsors could ever get commonized on rules so we could go across the country. But we can always dream and work at.
That's a dream that, you got to work at a little bit for sure. Last thing here, you already said chassis, engine, schedule, you got all that stuff. Thank your sponsors. I know you got that ingrained in your brain here for sure. Anybody new coming on board with you so far in 2024, but thank everybody that helps you for sure.
Yeah, as far as motor stuff, Dad's been still doing my Wasota stuff, and then Pro Power's been doing our open stuff, and still kind of finalizing, getting people finalized for 2024 here, but should be a lot of the same. And we're looking to have some new faces, so keep in mind there and keep track, and look forward to being online.
And once your season does get rolling, Votto for sure, but then the USMTS stuff, and once the schedule comes out, you guys are really good. You're one of those teams with the social media stuff is great, and you always have been. So it's pretty easy to keep track, sponsor wise, where you're going to be, results wise, whatever you guys got going on.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm going to try to do better yet. My wife Ashley does an excellent job, but in the social media age we live in now, I want to get more involved in videos and giving back to the sport. The sport has given me a lot, and I feel like I still have a long ways to go, but just helping out racers, it's given a lot to me, so hopefully see more videos about, how to do things or how I do things or how I approach or prep a race to give back, because ultimately it's a pretty small world, and we're all competitive and having fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, we've been kind of talking to everybody this weekend so far about, the end game. The end game is you want to win races, but you want to have some fun too, right? We want to make some money if we're promoting races, but we want to have some fun too, right? It's all as big of a family term as you want to say. We got to work together to try to make sure everybody at the end of the day keeps staying on the racetrack year after year.
Yeah, 10-4. As far as your stuff, Chris, did you post a new schedule yet? I haven't.
We got some of it out, and some of it's coming out this week.
Okay, it's 10-4. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what you have, and thank you. I know a lot of people don't thank you enough, because you've been a instrumental part of the sport, and that goes for all the sponsors and promoters to keep this deal going. It takes them all.
Well, it does, and it's interesting because just this week we've seen a couple racetrack promoters quit or tracks close, or it's as tough as ever to field a race car financially. It's as tough as ever to promote a racetrack financially. So again, you're exactly right. It takes everybody, and everybody needs to work together to try to make sure that the product stays as good as it is.
And I think the racing has been some of the best it's been. The product that we have to offer is about as best as it's ever been. So we're in a great spot.
No, for sure. 2024 kicks off for you, Wild West Shootout, Votto, January 6th.
Yep, that's right.
There it is. That's Dan Ebert.